Well, I've been speaking to UNICEF's head of advocacy for health, vaccines and pandemic response, Lily Caprani, in New York. She told me that these pledges need to be turned into action.
Well, it's right. We've seen new pledges made today on top of many pledges made earlier in the summer at the G7. And it's worth acknowledging that the US has shown great leadership and again today is really trying to raise the ambition and global collective action so that everyone in the world who has enough supplies of vaccines can come together and make sure they get to the lowest income countries where they're needed. But you're also right that pledges are not enough. We need to turn those pledges into action immediately. In the lowest income countries in the world, where there are still doctors and nurses and midwives who are not vaccinated against COVID-19, they cannot afford to wait until next year. They need to be protected now, and the communities that rely on them need them to be vaccinated now. So today's pledges are very promising, but until we see those vaccines arriving, we just cannot stop calling for action.
Lily, what is holding rich countries back from being able to deliver these vaccines on time to the countries that need it?
Well, we know that there are still more people in the world who want a vaccine than there are vaccines. It's a difficult time for every country that's trying to protect its population. But we also know that there are enough vaccines to be able to protect, at the very least, all vulnerable people and all frontline healthcare workers in every country. So the message to the high-income countries is, we understand you need to protect your own populations. You want to be able to deliver booster shots. Don't do that at the cost of donating vaccines to the rest of the world as well, because we're not going to be safe anywhere until everybody is protected. In fact, my family, your family, any family is going to be put at risk as long as we allow countries where there's low vaccination coverage to potentially see new variants emerging. So we just can't afford to wait.
Wise words there from you, Lily, certainly, and echoing the sentiments of Gordon Brown in the report from Hugh Pym just now. But will this pledge, do you think, convince other countries to do their part?
Well, we've certainly seen lots of global leaders come together today, convened by President Biden at this special vaccine COVID summit here at the UN General Assembly. And we saw many pledges and commitments to global action. Now we just need to see that translate into reality. And we also heard that there will be follow-up more meetings later in the year and next year. So UNICEF and all of our partners that are working through COVAX to try and achieve this very ambitious goal of vaccinating 70% of the world by next year will be following closely to make sure these commitments turn into reality. Every day that they don't, people's lives are at risk, healthcare workers are at risk, and communities that rely on fragile healthcare systems in poorer countries could see themselves go without protection.
Lily, I want to ask you just how much of a problem are vaccine manufacturers in all of this? What more can they do to help solve this problem?
Well, vaccine manufacturers are trying to manufacture as much supply as they can, but of course there's a queue for supplies, there's a long line, and we know that COVAX, UNICEF, all of us trying to deliver vaccines to lower income countries, we're in the queue. Sometimes we don't know where we are in the queue, so we would call on the manufacturers and the higher income, richer countries to be transparent, share more information, help us get information about how we can expect these supplies to arrive, and also consider giving COVAX a place ahead of the line. At the moment, we aren't necessarily getting supplies as fast as we need them.